Underwriting support for this program is provided by the Eureka Teachers Association's School Board Liaison, Philip Middlemiss. Thank you.
Okay, I will go ahead and reconvene us into open session and ask Board Clerk John Fullerton to report out from closed session.
On item C1, it is on the consent agenda. Items C2, C3, C4, there's no action to report.
Okay, so tonight, for our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, we have visitors from the Washington Elementary School and our principal, Kathy Loney-Gardner.
Good evening. I'd really like to thank the board for inviting Washington School here tonight to tell you a little bit about what's going on. Before I turn it over to our students, I'd like to introduce two of my 6th grade teachers that are here tonight. That's Mary Pigeon and Marie Carrick. And I have 4 6th graders here tonight. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and their families to you. So if you guys could come on up, please. Ina will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, too.
Hello, my name is Ainty Skies. I'm from Washington School. I'd like to introduce my mom that's here, that brought me here. I would also like to thank you for letting us here tonight. It's an honor.
Hello, my name is Kaylee Murphy, and I'm 6th grade student body president, and I'd like to say thanks to my grandma who brought me here, who's here right now.
I'm Smaller Bang, and I'm in 6th grade, and I'd like to thank my parents for coming here and supporting me.
Hello, my name is Matthew Duncan, and I'd like to thank my dad who has helped me with this and supported me, and thank you for bringing me here, Dad, tonight.
I think all the parents ought to stand up.
You ask all the parents to stand up.
Oh, I would like you to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Put your right hand over your heart, ready to salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My first subject about Washington School is how safe we are outside and inside. Outside, we have about 4 adults on each part of the playgrounds watching over us and making sure we are okay. Inside, we are always with an adult, and in the hallways, we have janitors walking up and down at all times. I would also like to talk about if we get bruises or cuts. We have Band-Aids in every classroom. Outside, we have ice and always have a nurse on duty with all the things you need for bruises and cuts. Our second subject is participation. Washington School participates in many challenges like the Centerlink Food Challenge. Our school collected the most food in all the district. Washington School also participates in a cookie dough sale every year and a walk to school Wednesday. Walking promotes good health and better learning. Thank you for inviting us here this evening.
Hello, my name is Kaylee Murphy. Okay, sorry. I would like to say I love I'm going to talk about student council and boys and girls basketball. I would like to say I love student council because it's students working together to make fun ideas for their classmates and all the other Washington Elementary students. I also like how their students can accept ideas from other classmates. but some adult has to look over them. Mrs. Pigeon is the one that does that. Then student council votes to see if they will accept them. Then the next topic I'd like to talk about is boys and girls basketball. There are 12 girls on the Washington girls basketball team, including myself. The girls' schedule runs from October to December. The boys' basketball schedule starts when the girls' season ends. The team is excited because Washington schools' names are on the jerseys this year. I would like to say I appreciate you listening to my statements. Thank you.
At Washington, we have many creative and unique things that we do. One is every morning, after the morning bell rings, the whole school lines up on the blacktop to greet one another and our wonderful principal, Mrs. Cloney Gardner. She picks several students to hold the flag and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Then we sing a song together led by one of our teachers or our 5th and 6th grade music teachers. I love the morning meetings because it is fun and a nice way to greet each other. I know that you would enjoy it too if you came to Washington School. Our teachers created unique learning groups for the students. This program is called DIG, which stands for Differentiated Instructional Groups. We are placed into groups based on our STAR testing and reading skills. Some DIG groups will be learning about ancient history, science, and reading skills. It is very fun and beneficial to learn new things and interact with other students that are placed in your group. I love being a student at Washington, and I will be sad to leave for middle school next year. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Matthew Duncan, and I'm here as a 6th grader from Washington School. I'm here to talk about 2 things that happen at Washington. One of them is the Opera a la carte that happened on Monday. There were 3 actors from the San Francisco Opera Guild and 12 actors from Washington's 6th graders. I was one of the 12. The opera was called The Elixir of Love. Another thing I'm here to talk about is our after-school program. Our after-school program consists of grades 1 through 6. We normally have 4 to 5 leaders who help us with our homework and lead games and activities. The leaders do an activity where they recognize 2 students that behave well, one of them from grades 1 through 3rd, and the other from grades 4 through 6. I attend the after-school program every day at 2:30. The after-school program is open from 2:05 to 6 p.m. Thank you for listening to 2 things about our school, and thank you for letting me and my classmates say some things about our school. Thank you.
Thank you all very much, and you're welcome to stay through the rest of the meeting if you want, but we will understand if you would like to leave and go do homework or other evening activities. Okay, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to call L19, which is board policy, and RAR on physical education and activity. We will bring it back to the next board meeting.
Okay, we'll move down to information. H5, student representatives reports. Do we have any tonight?
Yeah, we have 2.
Well, good evening. My name is Lauren Graven, Eureka City School Board Rep. Last month we had our first tri-tip lunch of the year. We sold 340 tri-tip lunches. Our officers helped that night before with packaging and organizing. On October 19th, we had our fall barbecue where students received their Green Hand degree and chapter farmer degrees. We had awarded 35 Green Hand and 15 chapter degrees. That night, we also had a potluck with 150 attendees and watch the award-winning lip-sync performance by the officer team. On October 20th through the 23rd, our advisor, Ms. Lofald, attended National Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. At National Convention, we had 3 American degree recipients, Hannah Lofald, Stephanie Bonamini, and Sarah Hilton. Only 2 were able to attend, though. Our upcoming events for November are our annual Humboldt Del Mar opening and closing ceremony competition with BIG and co-op testing on November 8th. We will have our FFA meeting and Booster Club meeting on the 16th. And on the 29th, we will have our Humboldt Del Mar sectional bowling at Harbor Lanes, where our members will be able to dress up like their favorite Toy Story character. Also, we hope to see you at our annual Dutch Lottery on December 1st at the Eureka High Cafeteria at 6 o'clock, where students will be raffling off their items that they've created. And then we'll hand out a upcoming Monday memo that we have every Mondays too.
Thank you. Are there any other student representative reports?
Hi, I'm Chelsea Gratz, and I'm the Senior Class Vice President and Eureka FFA President.
And I'm Catherine McGibbon, and I'm the ASB President.
So tonight we're going to talk to you about our homecoming events. I know that some of you attended, and Catherine is passing out a little sheet mainly about our main activities we had during homecoming week.
So our first event that we had was the hallway decorating, which took place on the Sunday before homecoming. And each of the classes got 3 hours from 1 to 4 to decorate their hallway according to like their class theme, which was someplace in the world. And the juniors ended up winning, but all the classes got really into it, and we were up printing stuff and everyone was painting, and it was just a huge event going on that Sunday.
Eureka High is very fortunate to have a lot of homecoming nominees. If you go to many homecoming, they have maybe 4 kings, 4 queens. We had 35 queens and 14 candidates. Each queen was dressed up very well for the game if you attended, and the assembly that we had that Friday, and also the parade.
Our bonfire is definitely the biggest out of all the schools. We have a 10 by 10 spot for our fire. And this year, over half our school attended. We had 700 students at that bonfire in the Marshall parking lot. And there was great music, the fire was amazing, and all the students had a really good time, and people really enjoyed themselves.
A big tradition we have is our rallies. Our main tradition is log bucking rally, obviously because we're loggers. So it went really well. As you can see, there's pictures on there. And then we have other leftovers if anyone wants them. We had many other rallies, like our Chalk on the Walk. Thank you, Mickey, for making your square, and for all the other board members that attended. We had a tie-dye rally where the seniors smashed the, I don't want to call them teachers because there was other faculty on there. And we had, oh, that was our tug of war, sorry. And then we had a tie-dye rally where kids made tie-dye shirts they could wear on Monday, which the theme on Monday was tie-dye. And we had musical chairs. All the queens competed against each other for musical chairs instead of the kings afterwards.
And Chelsea won. We also had our leadership conference yesterday, and we had over 125 students from Fortuna, Arcata, McKinleyville, and Eureka High School attend. And Phil Boyd, who is nationally acclaimed, came and led the whole thing.
We also have some upcoming challenges now that homecoming is over. One of them is Lager Classic. I'm the student coordinator this year, so if you're willing to house, or we'd love to see you at the tournament, it'd be nice to see you. you. Oh, sorry. Okay, and then juniors and seniors, we're right now trying to find places for prom and figuring out themes and all of that fun stuff that goes with it.
And also on our campus, all the clubs will be supplying a Thanksgiving basket or a gift for the Homeless Education Director, Maureen Chase.
Thank you for letting us speak to you, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Any other student board representative reports? Okay. Superintendent's report.
Well, I can see that you guys can tell that several of the high school students were very busy yesterday with their leadership summit training, and we were glad to be able to host it at Eureka High School. In addition, yesterday we had our staff development K-12. I can say that Eureka High School and Zoe Barnum School staff were together. I'm not sure that that has happened very often. And their staff development was centered around explicit direct instruction. I was able to attend for a period of time, and I thought it went very well, and it was seemed to be very well received by the teaching staff. In addition, I went then over to Zane and was able to look at a little bit of PBIS, which we've been talking about a couple of times in the board meeting, which is our K-6 positive behavioral intervention supports for students. Did I get that right? And it was really great to see all of the staff, and there were classified staff and certificated staff working together to develop a team and a school-wide understanding of how to support students in positive ways and having consistency across our K-6, or across our 4 elementary schools. And then Zane teachers participated in data teams, and I was able to go to the language arts data teams as well as the math data teams, and that's where they have an opportunity to really dive into looking at what the test scores are showing, and that they were identifying what key standards they wanted to continue to reinforce and work on, and it was really based on looking at what the students know and then what the students need to continue to be taught and reinforced, and they were all very energetically participating in that. Then classified staff had an in-service as well on Power School updates, as well as first aid, how to address first aid issues that come up on the campus. So we had a lot of folks getting a lot of really high quality training yesterday, and I was glad to be able to see the parts of it that I did. I want to let you know that we all, district office staff, went to last Friday's football game, which was fun. I think Rich did tickets, and the rest of us walked around, Paul, Lori, and I, and helped supervise. That's always fun. We won handily, which is even more fun sometimes to be there at the games. What I can say is the crowd certainly was very respectful, and that's always appreciated. Once the game ended, I went up to the auditorium and got to catch about the last 40 minutes of Macbeth, which was the play that we're producing up here at the high school. I encourage people that haven't attended it to attend. It, no matter what I go to, whether it's the student leadership or the football games or the play that I was able to watch, our students are amazing. Or the kids that came today from Washington, as well as the Eureka High, it's just phenomenal, the great kids that we have. To continue our support for the college-going culture, we had representatives from UC Davis, UC Merced, and UC Santa Cruz today here at the Eureka High School that students could sign up and have a chance to talk to, which I think is great for our kids. Want to let everybody know we have elementary parent-teacher conferences that start next week, the 10th, and then we'll continue through the following week. It's always that wonderful opportunity for parents to sit down and talk with their child's teacher about what's going on and how they're doing and how they can support each other as a team to support their child. And I always enjoy those parent conferences a lot. I was able to get into some of the classrooms and see some of the new smart boards that have been installed at the high school. I went to a couple of the science classes, and each of the science classes were doing different lessons And so it was neat to see those smart boards being used in different ways. All the kids seemed pretty engaged, and it was pretty powerful to watch how they're utilizing that technology. We were able to, again, get out on Halloween, and at least what I can report from what I saw at Zane, and I think I heard at the high school as well, it was nice to see costumes and things that were more what I would call friendly than some years in the past. And there was a lot of sort of fantasy things or sports things, or for some reason the geeky nerd theme was pretty prevalent. But it was just nice to see that kind of things going on at the school. Today at Eureka High School they had a summit for Drive to Stay Alive, and they had representation from several of the other high schools, Eureka High, Arcata High, Hupa, and I think Fortunate. And that was part of the grant that they were awarded, that they have to then teach other schools how to do the Drive to Stay Alive. And so today was a focus on that, and their community partners also participated in the training. And the kids were able to present lesson plans on how to implement this at their own sites, how to work it into the culture of their programs. As you know, it is something that we've been spearheading here at Eureka High, and is really a good thing to help promote safe driving, particularly for drivers.
Board members' reports. Wendy?
The heat evening is alive and well because of the heat day they had at the high school during homecoming week. And yes, my kid was, again, dressed as a geek. It's a very good one. I have lots of pictures. I did attend the Superintendent's Advisory Committee meeting last, was it Friday, I want to say, and it was really well done, man. And we had a lot of parent participation. I think it was one of the most active groups that we've had, and a lot of good information. When we took a tour of the district offices, which are getting there, they're new bigs on the Marshall campus, and that's about it.
John?
Nothing to report.
Fran?
Well, I have my schedule all laid out for the in-services yesterday, and then I ended up staying home with a sick granddaughter, who also was Halloween, so I knew she was sick. Other than that.
Hey?
I have the pleasure of visiting all of our elementary schools and doing a walkabout to look at facilities and their concerns about facilities issues, and that was exciting. Also had a chance to go to Zoe, Adult Ed, and I've got appointments with Zane and Eureka High shortly. So the intent is to get to all of the schools and have the site administrator give me some instruction on what they see as the issues. While I was in Washington, I got to see a little of the opera production, and as well as getting to Eureka High's football game last week. So it's been busy.
I went to Macbeth. It was great to see a show in the newly renovated theater, and it's playing again tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. And it's a very different modern kind of production. It was cool. I loved it. And my son went with me, and he liked it. Okay, now we'll move down to public comment on non-agenda items. This is the time designated on the agenda when members of the public may bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda. Legally, no action or significant discussion can take place about a matter not listed on the agenda. Therefore, board members and district staff members usually will not respond to public comments. As printed on the agenda, individual speakers will have 3 minutes to address the board, and each topic is limited to 20 minutes total. We don't have our little light in our temporary facility here, so we're back to the purple card with 30 seconds. I'll do my best. Okay, I have green sheets. Terry Roman Little.
Hello again. My name is Terry
Mary Roman Little, and my family lives within the Eureka City Schools boundaries. My son is a Montessori graduate and currently attends Eureka High School. My daughter, my older daughter, is a Montessori and Eureka High School graduate, and she's positioned to graduate with highest honors from UC Merced this spring. My younger daughter attends school with me at Redwood Coast Montessori. We are here to introduce ourselves and let you know that we plan to submit to you our new charter petition for Redwood Coast Montessori at your next board meeting. As you might know, Redwood Coast Montessori is in our third successful year of operation as a program under the Toll Valley Charter School. We have grown a little each year. We currently have 26 students enrolled in grades 1 through 5. The majority of our students live within Eureka City Schools boundaries, although a few come from Freshwater, Hutton, and McKinleyville. The families in our program are among the most dedicated, creative, and hardworking school families I have ever had the pleasure to know. And our plan is to continue growing and, with our approved charter petition, become a small K-8 Montessori school within the Eureka City Schools boundaries. We want to form a mutually beneficial partnership with Eureka City Schools. We will be back in 2 weeks to present our charter petition. Meanwhile, I've presented you with a list of our founding board and a couple of contact names in case any of you want to contact us before then. Thank you.
Brian Little.
Good evening. Let me just say thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak for just a moment or two. My name is Brian Little, and I'm a resident within the Eureka City School Districts. I am the lead petitioner on the Redwood Coast Montessori Charter petition that, as Terry mentioned, we'll be submitting here in a couple weeks. And as much as anything, I just wanted to introduce myself and say hello and express that we are very much wanting to work with the district to make this a positive experience for Eureka City School District, clearly for Redwood Coast Montessori, and for the families and the children within this area. As Terry mentioned, we've been in existence now for 3 years and have had great success. You're going to hear from some of our families, our parents, and some of the students. And we are very anxious to have this grow within the district. We think it can be a great asset to the local families and community. So, thank you.
Okay. Darius DeMonte?
Hello, my name is Darius DeMonte, and I'm here to voice my support for Redwood Coast Montessori. I'm a parent of a child there in first grade, and do live within the Eureka City School boundaries. I could not be happier with my son's education thus far. I've got another one coming along that's going to be attending there soon, and I'm proud to be a part of this group, and it's a wonderful group of people. I'm just here to voice my support. Thank you.
Thank you. Wanda.
Just going to help them a little bit.
Hi, my name is Wanda and I'm in 3rd grade at Redwood Coast Montessori. My favorite things are working the math cases, doing running club, playing games in PE, and going on lots of field trips and learning to play ukulele.
Zoe?
Hi, my name is Zoe Leonard, and I'm in 3rd grade. Some things I like about our school is that you don't have to sit in desks. It's a Montessori. I like spelling lists too. They're very fun. I like playing PE with Kara, and all her games are really fun. Music with Katrina, I like too. I like music with her because playing the ukulele is fun. Singing with Kathy is fun. I like singing all her songs. They're very fun. Thank you.
Michelle Leonard?
My name is Michelle Leonard. I'm also a RCN parent and board member there. I also teach 6th grade in Fortuna. My daughter Zoe just spoke. She's in her third year with Redwood Coast Montessori, and I have a preschooler attending Montessori preschool who we are planning to have him also go to Montessori. We live in the Eureka City Schools district boundaries, and we've chosen to send our children to Redwood Coast Montessori because we really love the program that they offer. The Montessori approach meets each child where they are developmentally and guides them and works with them to move forward and practice the skills that they need to master. So whether you are super highly skilled at something or whether you really need a lot of repetition, the Montessori philosophy meets you right where you are and kind of guides you along. My husband and I really also appreciate the social responsibility and peace education aspect of what they do at Redwood Coast Montessori. It starts with children's interactions with their peers. It's taken out into the Humboldt community and to the greater world. Field trips, running clubs, special projects, guests from around the globe, music classes, art lessons, a PE teacher, science teacher. These are regular weekly occurrences. So it is a very, very rich learning environment, and I feel that we are very lucky to have this opportunity in Eureka. Thank you.
Kim Burgell or Burgell?
I've got my notes on my phone, but I can't read them. So I'm Kim Burgell, and my daughter is in her third year at Eureka Coast Montessori as well. My son is in kindergarten Montessori and will be attending Eureka Coast next year. And in thinking about the things I love about our school, the list is too long, but I'm going to just hit on some highlights. One of the things that I love about our school is it was mentioned earlier, is the peace education and the way we embrace cultural diversity. We don't just read out of a book. We have people from different cultures come in to our classroom. Or I remember we celebrated Chinese, the Chinese Moon Festival, and we went to the Chinese restaurant and had moon cakes and did the whole deal. And just recently we had some folks from Japan that taught the abacus and calligraphy and something else, origami. So that's the kind of experiences that we have. And we're going to be having a Veterans Tea, which we have every year, so that the Veterans for Peace or veterans can come and tell our children about what happens really in war, not in a video game. And we get to honor those people, and it's just really exciting. And then for the United Nations International Peace Day, the kids created this huge puppet of a peace dove, and we paraded around the neighborhood and sing songs, and it's just a really awesome experience. And I don't know, I'm a hands-on learner, and this school certainly offers that, and it meets the children where they're at. There's so many great things. Another thing I love about our school is when you walk in, it's more like going into somebody's house because there's tables everywhere and children sitting around at tables instead of each individual sitting at desks. And it's cute because they're all working most of the time. And what's neat about our school too is that you've got the older children in the classroom, so they mentor the younger children, which gives them leadership responsibility, which is awesome. And then what's been mentioned, I know I need 3 minutes are almost up, but what's also been mentioned is we do have a great running club that participates in community events. We have singing with Kathy Life, we have our ukulele band starting with Katrina. We just have so many opportunities in such a rich environment for learning. We're in the Gulch now, which is nice because we can go in the woods. And I'm so excited about our school, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity for my children. Thanks.
Katrina Hager.
Got 100% on those names.
So my name is Katrina Hager. I'm the mom of a second grader at Redwood Coast Montessori, and this is her second year. And I'm also a credentialed K-12 music teacher, the ukulele band teacher. And I want to tell you why I chose RCM for my child. I love the specialized educational materials that Montessori developed, which use hands-on manipulatives. I like that the students have a choice of their activity from within a prescribed range of options, and that it's really child-centered that way rather than teacher-centered. And I really feel like it engages the child to become more responsible for their own learning. I like the uninterrupted blocks of learning time that Montessori prescribes. I like that they use kind of a discovery model, which students learn concepts by working with materials rather than from a book or direct instruction. And I really feel like this makes learning really exciting because they are discovering things, and I think that leads to more concentration and motivation for learning and self-discipline. And I love the multi-age classroom that was mentioned earlier too, where the students can form solid relationships because they're going to school with each other in the same room year to year. And then the older students are charged then with being social and academic role models for their younger peers. I like the environmental mindedness that we have within the classroom, and then that projects out into the community. The peace table, which was mentioned, where they learn conflict resolution skills and they practice through role play. They had jobs within the classroom. I was asking my daughter this morning, or today, she said, we have meteorologists, we have ornithologists, we have ichthyologists, we have botanists. They use these academic terms all the time, every day. We have a soup lunch where the kids, they share in the making of the soup lunch, where we have a farm share. My kid came home and was chopping vegetables. She wanted to help me in the kitchen, and she's chopping carrots and celery. It was amazing. And I love that we're a community that works together towards a common goal, and going on camping trips and field trips together. When I asked her what she loved about her Montessori classroom, she said, field trips, field trips, field trips. They do tons of science and arts and local culture and history field trips. The choice of the job that she gets to do, group projects and classroom duties with other students, hands-on learning with sewing and art and music, going to Mistwood to read and sing to the younger children, and of course, her teacher, Terry Berman. Thank you.
Okay, Bryce Hutchins.
Hello, my name is Bryce Hutchins, and I'm currently in my 9th grade year at Eureka High School. I am looking forward to trying out and possibly playing for the Eureka High tennis team this spring, and I would enjoy to see the tennis courts fixed up and playable once again. Thank you.
Marianne Hutchins.
Thank you on that. This time, I'm actually speaking on behalf of Fred Moore, who had a conflict tonight and couldn't be here. So I have 3 minutes, but I don't know, he wrote enough for more than 3 minutes, so I have to speak fast. So, like my son Bryce, I'm addressing the tennis courts on behalf of Fred. So he and his family live here in Eureka. His daughter Maddie plays on the 8th grade the 9th grade high school girls tennis team. And he would like to support and promote the renovation and preservation of a valuable school resource, high school tennis courts. So these courts were constructed and dedicated over 80 years ago in 1930, the year after my father, remember I'm him, graduated from Eureka High. Since that time, they have served countless high school students across the county, including myself, helping them become more self-aware and self-confident, more physically fit and mentally tough, and more highly motivated both on and off the court. After 8 decades of play, these courts have fallen into disrepair and desperately need resurfacing. My intention tonight is to provide you with some substantive reasons why some of the approximately $591,000 in the Measure S funds should be earmarked for resurfacing this valuable and important school resource. So like many of you, my wife and I firmly believe there is a strong correlation between physical fitness and academic achievement. This correlation is exceptionally strong in the sport of tennis. Tennis demands exceptional mental and physical capabilities from the individual athlete. The sport of tennis also builds individual character in our leaders of tomorrow. As we all know, the qualities of individual responsibility, good citizenship, inner self-confidence, and effective self-control are not abstract aspirations, but essential life skills. I observe these qualities on a frequent basis during Coach Bass's practices. Our entire family enjoys playing tennis. And why tennis? Okay, so after discussing this with my family, here are 10 reasons why we feel tennis is important to the current and future students of Eureka High. They learn to win graciously and lose with civility and honor. Gloating after a win or making excuses after a loss doesn't work in tennis or in life. 2, they develop a balanced mental and physical work ethic because improvement through practice reinforces the value of hard work. Few individual sports are at the same time as physical and cerebral as tennis, requiring stamina and quickness, sudden conviction, and exceptional patience. They manage mistakes, learning to play with their abilities. They plan and implement strategies, and I'm having to cut out a little bit here. They develop social skills through interaction and communication before a match, while changing sides on the court and after play. 6, they learn to solve problems since tennis is a sport based on angles, geometry, and physics. So lots of math there. They control stress effectively because physical, mental, and emotional stress of tennis forces one to increase their capacity for dealing with stress in the real world. 8, they manage adversity by learning to adjust to the elements. 9, they learn teamwork, since successful doubles play depends on you or your partner's ability to communicate and play as a cohesive unit. 10, they accept responsibility for making accurate line calls and compete fairly as an honest referee during a match. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the all-important element of fun. And it is a lot of fun. And just lastly, a couple points. All these benefits make tennis the ideal sport for kids to learn and develop early in life. What parent wouldn't want their children to have these advantages throughout their high school years and beyond? But this important advantage has been available for many generations of high school students is in jeopardy today. The tennis courts desperately need resurfacing. As elected fiscal stewards and leaderships, I respect that you are charged with many worthy projects and a finite budget with which to address them all. Projects such as the boys' locker room, track resurfacing, and multiple leaky roofs are all worthy of recipients of district resources. I respectfully request that you consider the Eureka High tennis courts resurfacing to be at least as worthy of district resources, and thank you for your time, attention, and service to our community. And I will just pass out, Richie, and pass along exactly what Fred wrote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Is there anyone else who can, yes, I need to turn this on, I'm trying to, anyone else with any public comment on a non-agenda item? Okay. We'll move to the consent calendar. Any questions or concerns by board members? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the consent calendar?
I move that we accept the consent calendar.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carries. Okay, we move down to discussion action. K16, Superintendent Search Act to approve consultant services for a superintendent search. And just for the audience, the board held a special meeting at 5 o'clock this evening, and we heard from two search firms and the Humboldt Education and what services they could provide the board in a superintendent search. And so now is the time for the board to discuss and act on what we learned. Discussion by any board members.
We did have a chance to discuss a little bit in the prior open session some of our feelings and the issues of engaging with an outside firm that actively recruits is a significant difference to what the county office can do for us. Actively recruiting out of the area, and it has to do with not only the perception but the reality of looking for people that would be the best fit for Eureka City Schools. And that doesn't exclude anyone inside or inside the county. And there is definitely some advantages to going with the outside firms in that they have a package that they offer with all of the services inclusive. I feel more comfortable when I'm speaking for myself now with one of the outside firms.
I would feel more comfortable with one of the outside groups. In fact, I would feel the most comfortable with leadership associates.
I'm going to put in my 2 cents worth for the Humboldt County Office of Ed. There's a big advantage to having Mary Eagles in that Humboldt County office. This is that we know Humboldt County much better than the others better. We know Eureka City Schools, we know the staff that's involved, unions that are involved, and progress and opportunities that are available in Eureka City Schools much better than the other 2 districts. They've done 120 superintendent searches in the past. Gary's been doing this for a long time. And lastly, it's a savings of approximately $20,000 or $21,000 to have the county office do it. And that's a lot of money. I think we would be better served to have the Humboldt County office do it. Save money to do it.
I agree with most of what John said, is that thinking it over, I really believe that the Humboldt County Office of Ed has a knowledge of the Eureka City Schools that these outside companies may not have. I think that it's very possible that the perception of not being thorough in the search is a concern, but I think with the presentations of the 3 different choices that we had, I think we do have to consider cost. And I think that we can get a good representation of what's available superintendent-wise from somebody that knows our area better than the outside company.
So I guess it's to me now. And I feel that the downside of the Humboldt County Office of Education is that they do not recruit. They only put out the job posting. And I think the other big problem I have is that Humboldt County Office of Education does not have a package. And so therefore, a whole lot of work in developing the process is going to fall on board members and district office staff, of which there aren't very many. And since this is a search that we're going to allow, we're inviting inside candidates, it eliminates quite a few people. We have to try to ensure that this is the perception to the community is that this is very fair. So I just don't believe there's a choice. I don't think there is the staff to do the work that the County Office of Education. So my vote is for one of the outside firms. I agree with Fran. My choice would be Leadership Associates.
I move that we offer the job of search for superintendent to the leadership associates.
Okay, I'll second. So, any further discussion? Any discussion by members of the public?
I'd like to say a couple of things. I really can understand what Willie and John are talking about. Saving $20,000 is a big deal. But I don't think we can, at this point, not go outside. We have to engage the community in a way that really tells them this is an unbiased, complete selection process. And therefore, I vote to hire search associates.
I would like to point out that leadership associates, as well as the other, what is it called? Dave Long and Associates, the other presentation. Both of those groups would do interviews of staff, students, parents, community, whomever groups that we would like to have interviewed, and then they take the notes, and all of this information comes back to the board for us to use and to consider. So it isn't a case where they go out and pick somebody and that's it. We basically would set the parameters and decide what type of person we want, and they would do the searching, which again does not eliminate anyone in our local area who is interested in applying. So,
Dr. Eagles also suggested that the scope of what they can do is the big difference in what's available. And we need the largest scope we can have.
And I did hear him say that there is a difference in the scope, but most notably in the fact that they are not what he termed headhunters, where they actually go out and solicit and actively seek out candidates who may not actually be looking for a job as a superintendent. But he did point out that it was mostly, in his opinion, the perception of the public that would be a concern. I just want to point out that we have done this 4 years ago, and as far as the leadership associates and Dave Long Associates both have a specific format that they use, and one more than the other was very limited in how much changing you can do. And one of the things that Gary Eagles was emphatic about was that the board can direct exactly what we want this search to be. We can tailor it to our needs, and we have a format of how we have done it 4 years ago. It wouldn't be starting from scratch, it wouldn't be reinventing the wheel. And yes, the parameters of the job have changed. We need a different thing than we were looking for 4 years ago. But the template is there, and we can tailor it to specifically what we are looking for, and all of those interviews process, incorporating opinions from the community and pulling in a lot of the community in the process was part of what Gary Eagles said they could do for us.
That template is Leadership Associates template. I mean, it is their process. That's what was done 4 years ago.
we did set the parameters. We tried exactly what we wanted, just like if the county did it, we would tell them exactly what we wanted. It isn't necessarily what they proposed here that we have to exactly follow.
And that's what I'm saying, though, you have that format available, which is what they have done in the past, that you can say, well, Humboldt County Office of Ed, this is what we want, this is what worked for us before, this is what we're interested in, this type of engaging the community, this type of search process where you interview stakeholders, that was the main thing, interview community members. I remember there was and gave the input in what the community wanted for a superintendent. And that's all available when we come out. That's the process we want to do, but for $20,000.
But without the recruit.
Well,
Right.
when I was on the South Bay School Board, we had the opportunity to use the Humboldt County office today for our superintendent search twice. And both times we were impressed with the quality of work that the county office did. And I think you're underestimating what all that county office does. You're overestimating what the board would have to do. And both times the results were I thought, were a lot better than what a headhunter did for us last time. So I'm still going to vote for the county office.
I would also like to point out that the South Bay is a two-school district and not very large. And we are very large, comparatively much larger than they are, incorporating K through 12 and continuation and all sorts of things. Again, I really feel that we would be better served with this type of group doing the surveying for us.
The other thing Gary was mentioned is that he specifically does not offer the service of recruiting or going out. Not that that was bad, but that he doesn't do that because he does not want to, as the county superintendent, appear to be pre-selecting a superintendent for a particular district, particularly a district like ours, which is the biggest one in the county. And, you know, he was very honest about, you know, the smaller districts and how he was able to serve them and how it's different for us. It's different for Eureka City Schools.
I'd like to call for the question.
Okay. This is the process we've been through here. Okay, so there's a motion to approve a contract for a superintendent search with Leadership Associates. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed say no.
No.
Okay, motion carries. So, we're hiring Leadership Associates, and we have, farther down in the agenda, we'll talk about superintendent search next steps. So right now, yes, I think she's getting her handbag with the phone. So. And I asked once, I'm assuming there was no, okay, public comment on it. We'll move to K-17, which is Board Policy Administrative Regulations on 3550 Food Service Child Nutrition Program.
And I'm going to ask Arlene Longo to come up to the podium. Make sure she's still awake. She'll get up awfully early to get to work, I know. This is a policy that we adopted.
My name's Arlene Lazio. I thank you for this opportunity to give you an update on food services and the many changes that we've gone through. I tried to pick out just a few because there are so many. It starts back about 3 years ago, the way we receive our commodities. Those are our government food entitlement, that where I spend our entitlement dollars. We used to receive them in quarterly offerings. So in other words, they would send a sheet of paper, they would list the items to be ordered. We would choose the items, and let's say we wanted 100 cases of ground hamburger. We would anxiously await to see the truck deliver because we got our fair share of that. So if hamburger was a big selection, if the truck may roll up and we may only get 10 cases out of it, or 50, or whatever our share was. We were constantly going to the freezer to see what we had to make up our menu. So about 3 years ago, we switched and joined the state co-op. The state co-op enables us to pre-order our food. This year we ordered our food 2 years in advance because they were going on to a computerized program, CNIPS. Autumn is our food service manager, and she does an excellent job, and she was the one that plotted and planned all that food out, taking each recipe, figuring out how much hamburger, how much tomato, how much everything. So we were able to turn our order in 2 years ago. Made a big difference. We get what we mostly get what we order, and it's nicer to have your menu already planned and know that the food is going to be there. When we started that, we started our 6-week cycle menu so that we weren't choosing, a menu, making a menu every day. So it makes it really, or every month. So it makes it easier for us to plan our menu. I spend most of our entitlement dollars in protein because that's the most expensive, costly item. And they lowered, yay, the delivery rate. It is a box of turkey roast that has a fair market value of maybe $78, comes to us now at $2.60. So I spend all of our money on the top items to make it stretch. In 2009, 2010, we implemented same-day service, bulk service. We did that at the elementary sites because we thought the kids, I noticed that the kids couldn't tell what they were eating. Our packaging is so sophisticated. Parents and students, everybody thinks we have pre-packaged food. I had a conversation with a parent, I guess it was a parent, he was an anonymous caller, who really grilled me on pre-packaged food this year. Didn't you ever serve pre-packaged? I said, no, we always had scratch kitchens. So I wrote a grant and it was accepted. We purchased transport units at the elementary sites so that we could send the food over. We cook the same day, send it over, and also send a lady from the kitchen to dish it. By doing so, we saved over $10,000 in packaging, which of course relates to garbage fees, landfill, all the other things that are involved with that. And I think that it's very successful. Let's see. And most important of all, the product is safer because we were doing next day cooking, so we would cook the food, chill it, and then you have to monitor, document, and then retherm, monitor, document. So I think the product is actually a better product going over to the kids. Garbage pickup transport units. One of the other things that we did in 2009, 2010 was implement second breakfast here at the high school. Instead of having a nutrition break, we were able to offer them a second breakfast for those kids that roll out of bed at the last minute and come to school and they're not ready to eat or they didn't get here in time. It tripled the breakfast count. So it was so successful, we decided to try it over at Zane. Very successful over there as well. It's doubled the participation. The kids don't want to eat that early. They prefer to come a little bit later, and it's working out really well.
Is that served during the nutrition break time?
Pardon me?
Is that served during the nutrition break time, the break in the morning?
Very quick nutrition break, yes. During nutrition break time. One lady, Mary, over at the over at Zane, worked very hard to serve 200 kids. Yeah, gets them through quick. Let's see. We also implemented in 2009 the salad bar here at the high school. That started with Donna Doherty, who's a wonderful teacher, and she's retired now. But she and her class did a study, and during that time a few years ago, budget cuts were huge. And I was at a conference, and the state people were asking how we were coping with our budget cuts and making the adjustments. Everybody there raised their hand and said they did away with their salad bars. I was the only one that raised our hand and said, thought I was going to put one in. It was easy to do in that kitchen. thanks to Donna who promoted it and did the market study for it and said her students would support it. The serving line already has the old steam table set up in there, so all we had to do is put the hotel pans in, ice blankets. It's been a huge success. We serve over 100 kids a day at the salad bar, and it's still, it's still perpetuating. It's still going on. And it has, the ladies over at the district office have been coming over and they emailed me and said, oh, that's awesome. We have baked potatoes, homemade soup, and the whole salad bar. Homemade wheat rolls.
That's why you wanted to move. That's why I wanted us to move.
Yes. Some of the other adjustments we've made in our menu, and we do them gradually. We've been over the last several years, we've implemented whole grain pastas, spaghetti, rotini, macaroni, and brown rice. The kids don't even know it's coming because we've done it at a third white rice, a third brown rice, 2/3, then half and half. And now this year we're on whole brown rice, all whole grains. I did get a comment about the macaroni and cheese tasting a little bit different, and I know why. It's all whole grain this year, but I think that it's been accepted, and I think they're enjoying it. We also even make the new cinnamon rolls, which are whole wheat cinnamon rolls with no sugar frosting. So the kids think they're getting a treat. They taste pretty good. I would have had them more whole wheat, but I had some opposition. So, not from Autumn, but from some other people in the kitchen. They really wanted to have maybe more a half and half, so we went with half and half. And the kids are enjoying them. We cut out all of our sodium from our menus, and except for baking, and we've switched to sweet sea salt, which is supposed to be a lighter sodium. So it's more expensive, but we have the sea salt. We currently are user-shaped menu planning approach, and I have a NutriKids menu planning and nutritional analysis. So you'll see that on the menu. It's all figured for me, but every ingredient in our kitchen is inputted into that program. So I'm constantly looking at ingredients and naming it and entering it in there. So when we pull it up and make recipes, that all the information and the nutritional facts will come out for it. Last spring was a good year. Last spring, I asked for input from the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, and I emailed all the principals instead of just the 4th, 5th, and 6th ones. What was I thinking? I heard from everyone, and lots of good things. And the really good thing out of it was Mrs. Goodman's class wrote me letters, and she is having her first field trip to our kitchen. So I think it's going to be a real buy-in for the students as well as for us to see where the food comes from. We're going to do a little taste testing up at the courtyard. We're going to have, I think it's going to be chicken curry salad. They wanted things like sushi, and they're sophisticated over at Washington. And so and I tried to explain, we have to have, a menu for all, but we're going to work on some of those ideas. We're all very excited about having them come to our kitchen. I hope that's the first field trip of many that will come and visit us. Our over-district eligibility is 64%, Alice Birdie's 95, Grant 79, 78 Lafayette, 50 Washington, 61 Zane. Washington finally now they're up there so that their after-school programs meet the guidelines. And Eureka High's 50, and Zobarno 73% eligible. The percentage of those eligible kids that we feed 71.5% of the elementary kids. 71%, which is, we have a lot to work on in breakfast. We only feed like 39, 39, 35, 21, 38, 30, 27. So breakfast is a place where we can improve, and we're constantly thinking about ideas and ways to improve our menu and our services. Farm to school. We purchased our first local apples from Clendenin's orchard. Kids love them. They're going over really well. They first could only supply us with 10 cases out of our 35 a week, so now that we're up to, I think they delivered 15 this last time. I'm hoping to contract some of the farmers and see if they can put in some local produce for us, broccoli or lettuces or something that we can use. Not that I can feed everybody every day, but maybe we'll get some contacts going with the farmers. And some of the goals that I have for the upcoming year is apply for the Healthy U.S. School Challenge, source more farm-to-school products. The thing that I'm hot on right now is a community school garden, and I'm looking at sites for that. And I just attended a leadership conference workshop in Fort Bragg, and the lady down there, their food service supervisor is phenomenal. She's like 10 people rolled into one. And so she gave me some great inspiration. And my goals for food, I know I'm going to get bulgur in there, I know I'm going to get polenta in there, and I'm going to be feeding those kids garlic. Those are my 3 things. And this is something that we no longer have the food pyramid, we now have a My Plate. And this is what, they come in different colors. They come in different colors. And so the USDA figures it's a little bit more easier to read of what is what. So this is what our goals are going towards. And that's about it for that.
One of the reasons why I wanted Arlene to come and share is when we were looking at this policy, particularly the AR last time we met, it really didn't have the depth of what we wanted it to say, and it certainly didn't represent what our central kitchen does for our kids. So as Arlene and I, with Mickey, were reworking the wording on this, I thought, we need to hear from Central Kitchen on really the amazing food that we're serving, and that our desire and goal is to keep all these elements in our AR to really say, yes, we are doing all this, and we're going to continue to serve our kids nutritious menus. So I wanted her to be able to not only support it in the wording that we did and the rewriting that we did, but also to support it by sharing with you, because I certainly don't usually know the depth of it. All I know is when I want to go visit, I call and say, what are you serving? Because I'm only going to go if it's something I really like, and it always is, and usually they give me more than I need. But it's pretty amazing that we have local, we're using locally grown food, we're doing whole grains, we're really watching our salt and all the other things that this says, but in a way that's just delicious.
Well, and one of the things that I'm finding is Eureka City Schools, and not by me, because I think the school board and just the whole momentum of food services, I think Eureka City Schools is above and beyond what the rest of the state is doing. People are talking about things. Autumn and I sat in on a webinar the other day, and we both looked at each other and I'm like, what are they talking about? We did that 2 years ago. So I think we're ahead of the game. I've told Leanne many times, I try to stay on top of all the many mandates and changes and all that, and it's ever changing, and I can't know everything, but I think I try my best to keep on top of it. I have a saying I'd like to share with food services. We must serve the food that the students will eat, that the parents approve, that the teachers approve, that the custodian approves, because yes, custodians do call me and say, please don't send carrots or grapes or trail mix, I don't want to speak up to that. That meets the nutrition and wellness policies and the government regulations, and keep in my budget.
Okay, Carolyn, is there any questions? Board members? No? Questions? Oh, I think audience members?
We got Arlene.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Arlene. And thank you, Autumn, because I was wrong.
Yeah. We work really closely together. She's awesome. Awesome, Autumn.
Okay. Can we move to the board policy?
Root production of dog, it's 219, or K17, I'm sorry.
No one have any questions on this
closing. Okay, I have one.
Okay. It's huge.
29. I just wondered, is Arlene still here?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I see you down there. Okay. Are you actually meeting with the folks like PTA folks and folks who are making foods to sell, you know, like the spaghetti dinners? I'm on, not the food, although I thought that was in here too, but particularly the safe handling of the...
We need to work on that. Okay. There are some guidelines that are not in place as far as competitive food sales, and Leanne and I were talking about it. I had talked to, I was working with Katrina, and it kind of dropped a little bit, and we were just kind of dropped along the line there a couple of times, so we are needing to put some of those practices in place, and it needs to come from, you know, a collective group,
Sure.
right? I can't, yeah.
Board policies, like that,
Okay, I just heard from a group, I don't know whether I was at a breakfast or some meal here, and I heard the workers talking about how they had to comply. Oh, if we don't keep things clean or hot enough, food service gets all over us. So I just assumed you were already doing some of this, but, okay.
I've not been contacted by anyone, and it should be run through, if that's what the nutrition policy, the wellness policy says, that it should be run through the designated personal identity. So, this is something that's slipped through the cracks. Never, as far as I know, it's never been implemented.
Get back to the board policy.
I'll second that motion.
This is right? So this is discussion action, right, Nikki? So we don't need a second reading, this is it. Okay. So it's been moved and seconded to approve board policy and administrative regulation 3550 food service child nutrition program. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carries. So we now move to L18. Is he coming or not?
Since you haven't heard from us, we had closed the so he was probably down now.
Oh. Okay.
But he said that next steps would be to schedule a meeting with the board where the board meets with the consultants on
Nikki, I can't hear you. Sorry.
Sorry. So what he said is that the next steps would be to meet with the board, to go over what the board expects of the superintendent, that sort of thing, what groups the board expects to meet with, the community and that, to get an idea, and the timeline for that. It's done in the special board, and Jim would be at that also, the other consultant. And they were looking at just, hopefully we pulled over the road, to be honest, December 15 and 16.
For the public input, is that?
No, this is for the
Next
board
step.
to meet with, yes, he said because they have until June, they're able to, now this was a quick conversation, so you should have that.
Until June.
Well, I don't think June, I mean, okay, not June, March. What he said is he would like to schedule a meeting with the board. Well, next step, so, but he's going to call tomorrow.
Because we were talking about having them come to the second meeting in November, so that then in December, they could get the public input done.
The timeline.
Did we specify a timeline when we
when we talk to these people?
Well,
Didn't we specify a timeline for that?
In their proposal, the November board meets with consultants, December consultants meet with staff, community, and so forth. That's one of the reasons that I was in favor of this group, is the fact that it was timely.
That they already had the timeline all
They
set
had
out.
a timeline that was important.
It's right there.
Well, I don't want to be the one that makes him, because he was driving down the road.
It's fine.
So,
This
I'll
is,
talk to, he's going to call tomorrow, and he wants kind of a board point of contact too, so.
this is obviously what we want.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll work with whatever the board wants. He was just throwing out some action.
Could you provide for the board, Mickey, a copy of that listing of the people that were in those groups, or the listing of who, these groups that we, the public input, special invitations were mailed to people within the community to participate. And so, and it was, a time was actually put on there. But what happened first was the board was given an opportunity to add names to this list, so that you were looking at this list of folks in the community and groups and saying, I know a person who would like to be involved and provide their input. So that allows us to build a wider group. So if Mickey could do that, and she could
Are
get
you
it to
talking
me.
about our original list from 4 years ago? That
It's from 4 years ago,
Okay,
yes.
I know.
It just gives you ideas. Some of the people that are on that list are gone. They're no longer here. So, but it shows you, oh yes, this person, these were business people and they were in this, so who would we put as business people in the community that we want now? Or if there are folks in other areas. But it seems to me that that list needs to be generated pretty quickly.
So we can look at it.
Right, right. And add to it, and then get it back to Mickey. And then district office staff and schools can provide, we need input on whoever, the different groups and people who want to come.
And I'm not sure what types of groups specifically were on that original list. I remember there was an awful lot of people involved, but just for my 2 cents worth, we have the contact information for every parent of every student in our school district. Any of them interested in input, they should be offered that opportunity. Same with every staff member and every teacher in our school district. We have that information. So as groups, if they're not already on the list, I would like to suggest that they might be on the list.
Last time,
I'm not talking about individuals come to a meeting or will interview you, but if they wanted to be put into the list of people.
not that it can't be changed, but just to describe it last time. Schools, put it out in their newsletter, and then there was a specific time. We had Sheldon last time, who was our public relations person, and who organized a lot of this. The district doesn't have a Sheldon now, but that was the outreach out to parents through the principals. Staff, the two unions were offered opportunities, and they took charge of how they wanted to handle that. I think that was a separate actual union meeting. But then other employees outside of that also had opportunities to meet, if I'm remembering and reading that. So there were multiple groups that you could choose. I noticed in one. So if we start with that, with the list from the last time, and you see something missing, then this is the time to add to that.
Would that be available on our next meeting? Is that the point?
Well, I think I'm suggesting that we can get it out to us via mail, like as soon as possible, and then we can get it back to her. And then by the next meeting, the next board pack, you would be getting what a final version is looking like.
Not addresses.
No. Although if we put somebody's name on, we should be providing an address, because that's part of the, we don't have a shelter, and she's got to mail a lot of this, and if we can't find a.
Wait, she does or our hired?
Right. No, the district mails them, mails those. They facilitate all those meetings. They come in and they take all the notes and they type up the document. But the initial mailing came out of the district office.
My concern is that they're here in November. And I'd like to somehow, yes, we have a motion and second and passed it, we're going to hire this group, but it's based on this timeline. If for some reason they are not available in November, we need to do something else in our next meeting. I don't know if there's a motion on
It's
that.
not that they're not available, not at all.
No,
They're available. He'll come back tomorrow if you want to.
Okay. Because I don't want to
In
talk
fact,
about
he would sit around right now if I told him to, but I didn't feel like, maybe I should come in and ask the board if you want me to turn around and come back, but I didn't think that it would. I guess I made an executive decision.
Well,
He should.
there's no way to make a decision until Nikki finds out.
Well, I
We've
don't-
said this, and if Nikki finds out and they have a problem, then we can call a special meeting.
Do you want me to call him back?
Well, I don't know that he's driving, and he's not looking at his paperwork, and he's not, I don't know, if it were me in the car, I'd be a little.
Don't want to do that.
You could get him on the phone, and if there is an issue, you could call a special board meeting for us to deal with it within 24 hours. But his timeline on his paperwork says November.
Right.
So I can see how he would have just kind of, with this not in front of him, he's in his car.
Yeah.
So we have this as their proposal. We've accepted their proposal. I'm going to make the assumption that that means November, unless we hear otherwise, and then we take drastic steps to change it.
And the board can call this 48 hours. What did you call it? But we could undo the motion to hire him. I mean, that's how. Right.
But the rest of the timeline is, nobody's, in this, it doesn't go that long. No waiting to
No, there's no way to teach it. Okay, so the next steps are Mickey's call to make sure the timeline's the timeline. We're looking at tacking on that special meeting onto the next November meeting, like we did tonight, starting at 5. Rather than doing a special, a separate one. That's good. That's
Relax, he's done this before, so we'll be here in November.
I know, I'm just saying us. You don't want a special meeting, right? We're going to tack it on.
I would probably be great.
Okay, all right. So that's what we're looking at for a special meeting. Then if we can calendar in those December dates, the 2 dates in December where they would be doing those interviews. Because you can't send letters until you know those dates. And then the third thing is getting the list out to board members. Okay, board members, do you see any other immediate? And if we think of anything else tomorrow or the next day, your point of contact is Nikki. Okay? Email Nikki.
I got it.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Anybody in the audience have?
I'm not familiar with where we should stand because we don't.
Normally I'd kind of let you stay there, but we can't hear. So can you come up to the podium?
More than the average. Thank you, Judy. I didn't plan on attending late. I had well, you know how I balance different things. But I didn't know till I walked in that the last item on the agenda was the discussion of the superintendent search that we have going on at this point. And I think that's a wonderful thing for you to do. But I also would like to speak about our interim superintendent, who I've known professionally as well as personally since my son has been in first grade over at Grant School. She is one of the most incredible people I have ever met. I've known her as a principal. I've known her in her past position, obviously as the assistant superintendent, and I'm very proud to have her as our interim superintendent, and I think we have an invaluable resource. She not only has the qualifications, but she has integrity that I very rarely have known in my life. And I will compliment the board in the same fashion. I've been lucky enough to know many of you on a personal basis over the years. I don't know how I can address other things on the agenda, but I did have an occasion today to have to stop by, even though the front door of Marshall isn't open. And I saw the wonderful expenditure you guys have made. You see, I have been over the superintendent's office, we won't say dozens, maybe many more times than that, on various things, sports-related, other school-related issues. I think I talked about a transportation issue a long time ago. Saw Larry the bus driver today. And I know that there has been some questions raised about the expenditure, and I would like to tell you that in the many visits I've had to the old building that you very wisely made choices on, I see an incredible investment that you've made across the street. You see, the old building had a lot of problems. You know, just functional problems like all buildings do when they get old. And I'm actually so pleasantly surprised to see that you have invested the money in a building that is spectacular. Not just for a year or two, but the way you have renovated it, it will last a long time. And it's beautiful. And it's something that we need when we do spend money to invest it appropriately so that for our long-term ongoing need, we have made a marvelous decision in terms of putting the board and the supervisors right next door to the Eureka City. And, you know, I usually don't get involved in politics. I tend to just quietly help behind the scenes. I did last year, as very few people know, we here at Eureka High put together a not-for-profit for the Eureka High students for sports, for AAU, and managed in 2 weeks to have that not-for-profit be materialized, and found $1,000 to get them into the College of the Redwoods program. And we did that quietly so that the children who could not afford to join AAU or didn't have the opportunity as in athletics to participate in AAU, and opened up, well, hopefully it won't ever be a need for us because we'll always have school sports. When I was here on the transportation issues, we talked about Larry the bus driver. And at that point, the board was facing a big problem because, you see, the state was cutting the funding. And we didn't have any options. And I know it was a very lively meeting. But you see, when a school board and a superintendent's office is faced with state budgetary, as well as, you know, federal budgetary rules and guidelines, that's what we get. And we are going to have a tough year next year because, as I recall, I think we had a 3-year budget, and I may be wrong because I haven't been I haven't had the time to really closely follow these things, but I think this is the 4th year. In other words, we have different budgetary concerns this year than maybe we did the last 3. I am so pleased to see the way we have functioned to improve Eureka High School, the middle schools, and the elementaries in many ways. And I think we can all look at our cup as half full or half empty, but you know, if you got a drop, you can do it. I think the community as a whole has to understand that the wealth of experience we are fortunate enough to have is an invaluable resource. Invaluable resource. We obviously will be facing some changes. Judy, coming up soon. I have had the pleasure of being a friend of yours for several years, and a bystander, watching, just quietly helping here and there. And regardless of how the election turns out, we will hear what the electorate has to say, but I do know that you are a wealth of experience. And whether I will see you next month or whether the electorate chooses to change that, thank you. And I haven't had the pleasure of meeting your opponent. At this point, I actually happened to catch on Sunday night public access compliments of our school to get a chance to see that there is a very interesting woman who has different qualifications. So, of course, I'm not going to comment about that, but I wanted to make sure I came here regardless to say hello to Leanne, to sing her praises as an administrator, as a member of the superintendent's office, and also one who has kept dancing small miracles. So I did come in tonight to say hello, but I want the community to be aware that you wonderful people are here helping all of our children, and sometimes community members have to help to solve the problems. Judy, when we had the bus driver problem, I actually was the one that Humboldt Area Foundation contacted to ask them if we needed to have them help us. We didn't. We found that transportation. But I also hear that the board that I was asked to be on, we did help with. And if we ever have transportation issues again, we, with the help of the Humboldt Area Foundation and RCAA, will be able to attend to that problem. There's a lot of things that go into the work that we do that people are not aware of. And we have a wonderful group here, and thank you very much. And Leanne, everybody will make choices, and there will be candidates that will be interviewed. This was your last agenda item. I can't speak higher of many people that I've met in my life in terms of confidence, sincerity, and clear-headed honesty. So it's a different perspective. Our cup is not only half full, it's really almost filling over. You guys have done an awful lot to add to the facilities and the schools, each and every one individually. And I'll leave it with that because I can't go over my 3 minutes.
Yeah, but
I
kind of let you, yes.
But you know, sometimes people can come and complain, and too many people in this world don't realize that you can always find good in everyone. And I'm sure as life goes on, that will happen. And I didn't want to miss a chance to say hello. And yeah, it's a beautiful building.
And it's nice to hear positive comments, so we certainly appreciate
Well,
those.
there's so many things ongoing in the works that people aren't aware because of the dedicated staffing. Every teacher, every monitor. There's a lot of people that give a lot more than they're paid for, and hours that are not overtime, they're dedicated. Some teachers even buy the supplies. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you. So are we finished with the superintendent search. Next steps? Okay, we'll move to, now L19 was tabled, right?
Yes.
So L20, and this is just information because we had that discussion at the last meeting about board meetings and types of board meetings. We were talking about the facility workshop. So first of all, your page 48 is the wrong page. So, I mean, it's interesting, but it's not what was supposed to go there. So there's another, oh, here we go. So there's one that says, that says replace page 48. And that shows you about emergency meetings, closed sessions, and public hearings. So that completes the types of meetings. The one that we're having this Saturday morning, 9 to 1, facility workshop, right here, is a special meeting, discussion meeting on page 47. So the generic term for it is a discussion meeting. We just happen to call it a workshop. I mean, we can call it any kind of name we want to call it, but basically, it's kind of, you know, that's a description. It's just a conversation we're having about things. It's not really a study session. It's not a special meeting. It's
Special meeting.
Yes, there are lots of it. Oh, yeah, it's a special meeting, discussion meeting. I'm sorry.
That's what I
I'm sorry.
Yeah. This was very helpful. Thank you.
Good. Good.
I'll keep it where.
Okay. And then, of course, your Brown Act
Yeah.
stuff is there too. And everybody, Mickey says everybody has this booklet. If anybody's looking at Brown Act stuff. So if there's no questions, I was just.
Don't have it,
Yeah. This is the easiest book for a Brown Act because it's basically in question form and it's not, the whole Brown Act thing is like dry. Okay. Anyone in the audience have anything to say on types of meetings? Okay. Okay. So, I don't believe we have any additional closed session. Leanne, we have no additional closed session. So I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for coming.
You well were.